Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Tevin, and this is my final presentation for GRC 316. Before I get started, I definitely want to give a shout out to everybody for making it through to the end, and Professor Abella for helping us get through this and making it here. It's definitely a journey and a learning process. I think I learned a lot of tools that I feel can help me as an artist moving forward in the future. To start it off, we started with a traditional sketch to digital painting. I really enjoyed this one. First of all, just because I got to pull out like some old sketches that I used to play around with, and I don't know, that was a fun process to like revisit a little bit. But to bring it digitally, that was like another thing, and the fact that I added a new tool in my belt, which is my drawing pad. Love that thing. Yeah, so like that was I love this exercise. Like it was really fun. I didn't really have too much trouble. I guess the main trouble I had was towards finishing it. Trying to like after I added color to each of the characters, just trying to figure out what I was gonna do with the background, and I don't know. I felt like I kind of wasn't satisfied with what I did, but I feel like it kind of all worked out. So you know, not everything I guess works the first time. So, which a lot of these projects I do plan on going back and playing with a little bit more over the break. I wish I could have done it like while I have the feedback fresh in my mind, but this semester's been kind of hectic, so yeah, I didn't really have the time to really make the edits and adjustments that I want. But yeah, so here's the beginning sketches for this, and then here's the final. So yeah, like I said, like as far as like the backgrounds, I feel like that was the main challenge for me trying to figure out like what would fit and what would work, and definitely shout out to the professor for helping me out with the palm tree and the puppet warp. That was a nice tool to learn. I actually watched a couple more videos on that and learned some pretty cool stuff you could do with that. So I look forward to using that in the future. Um, Actually, no, there's one thing. So me as an artist, I think the biggest struggle I definitely have is shadows and highlights. I'm not too good at it, but it's something I definitely am working on. So I'd say that was definitely a challenge for me. So I don't think the all the highlights, I mean the shadows and in the middle probably fit directly, but I don't know. I was kind of like trying to fill it out, like getting the feel for it. So that's what it came out to be. So honestly, I'm not too like disappointed. I'm actually pretty proud of it, but I just know like that is something that I did struggle with along with the backgrounds as far as this. But it was I think this was a good project. I mean, exercise to start off with. Like it's pretty open, loose, not too much strain or anything. So this was definitely a good one. Our next project was we had to take an image that we had, take it to sketch it out, then take it to grayscale, and then move it to color. And this was also another one that I kind of struggled with the shadows and highlights, but I felt like it was kind of fun to just kind of play with it and get a feel for it. And using the new drawing pad with like these exercises, I feel like that was I don't know, it kind of made it a little bit easier to approach as before I would be doing it with a mouse or a little pad on my the keyboard on my laptop. But yeah, I feel like that was definitely a plus. I love the drawing pad. But yeah, here's the original photo over here. Here's my sketch of it. And then over here to the left, I have my grayscale. And then here's what it came out to be color. This wasn't my original color that I had. The other one that I had had like a lot more vibrancy, and like there was like the colors needed to be toned down basically a little bit. So that there could be more focus on like I don't know, the center object would be the jersey pretty much, but everything was like oversaturated, so it was just like nothing really stood out. But I feel like this is like it's a little bit more subtle. It's still kind of got a high contrast in like each of the objects, but I feel like it's toned down enough that the main focus goes back to the jersey. But yeah, this is I think both the like warm up exercises or the beginning exercises were perfect for like starting this class and like kind of getting a feel for who we are as artists. So yeah, I feel like that was definitely something good to set the tone. Really enjoyed it. Uh, yeah, the only struggle was pretty much trying to pull out the highlights and shadows, which that is definitely gonna be a lifelong process for me. I feel like I'm here for it. I feel like the whole process of art, like there's many different ways to do it, especially like digitally. So it's like I don't know. I'm all for the challenge and up for the process, especially like for the later projects, like the time lapse. I was so nervous starting that, but like as I was going through it, like it became more easier. It just was. I felt the pressure of being recorded, but we'll get to that later. The next project was our Illustrator presentation. This one was actually pretty cool because I got to learn a lot about many different artists. The artist that I chose was Dan Dos Santos. I chose him out of random. I wanted to choose somebody that I've like never heard of before. Learned a lot of interesting things. He actually created the cards for the 2023 Marvel Masterpieces, which here's a couple of his clip arts that I presented in my presentations. Yeah, that I really enjoyed that I found online. Yeah, he has a pretty like intricate style, especially when it comes to the details of like anatomy. Like and when I get to his other works, you'll see like a lot of his drawings. Like he's very like I don't know how can I describe it. He pays a good quality of attention to like details of the structures of people. And I remember he had mentioned that like sometimes like he'll ask his friends or sometimes himself. He'll take pictures of himself and like the poses that he wants, and like he'll like go off of that to like create some of these designs. So I think that's pretty interesting. Like making use of resources. Like if somebody isn't available, like an actual model, ask a friend, and if you can't get somebody like that, you know what, do it yourself. So it's a pretty cool model to go by. But yeah, here's some of his other works. He has a lot of fantasy type stuff, which I think is pretty cool. I I can't say I really fall like within that genre of stuff, but I definitely like looking at it and letting my mind wander into like depicting the narrative of the scene. So like I don't know, like I'll just like this wasteland right here in the middle. Like I'm trying to think of like I don't know. I see like toy parts, so I'm thinking like, is this things that this guy, like this kid right here, liked, and I don't know, his world all came crashing down. I don't know. Like I just try to create a narrative, like just little things like that. But yeah, I really love his art for that sequence. Like you could actually really get some type of depiction of who the character is and what they're about, or what the scene is about. The book. These are actually all from different books that he illustrated for. But yeah, he had a nice line of work. These are just some of the few that I picked out that I thought were pretty interesting. And one thing about his work is he tries to, like with the backgrounds, he'll try to incorporate the personality of the character within that. So like the whole image, like you'll see the person, but like the whole image is an extension of their personality in some way of sort. So I think that's pretty cool to Next project was Project One, which I also enjoyed. The holiday card. I have this very, very rough sketch. I had to pull out some very rough sketches. I was like, I don't really know. I'm not really a like. I like the holidays, like to be around family, but I don't know about as far as like creating art for it. I guess like I don't really know. That's not really my type of thing. So this was kind of a little different for me, but still enjoyed the process. Like I said, like using the drawing pad, it's amazing. I love it. Like I can't wait to like use more of it through my free time and just I don't know develop more skills with it. I need to go and set my hotkeys for the buttons. Um, I've gotten used to like the buttons that like the settings that it's on there right now, but I know you could change it to your preferred preference. So that's something I definitely need to go back and get in tune with, especially my brush settings too. I want to play around with that a little bit more because I feel like for a lot of these projects, I stayed on the same brush setting just to like play it safe. And I know there's like a lot more I could have done and brought to the table had I been a little bit more adventurous. But you know, me trying to play it safe and just stick to something that seems familiar, I guess. Like I don't know. That's what kind of got me through this class. But yeah, so here's the draft that I guess ended up getting the most votes or was the best, I guess. And then here's what the final sketch ended up coming out to be, which I'm actually pretty proud about how good this gingerbread man came out. Like as far as the proportions of him, at least. Like this wasn't traced or anything. Like this is like looking at one and trying to. The one in the back here, you can see this arm's probably like a little bit longer, so we're not gonna pay attention. Actually, we'll say that this guy right here made him. I made this guy. Technically, that's how it happened. But yeah, here's the final design. I tried to stick with staying with the color palette of the school colors for like mainly the figure, and then just stayed with try to. I pulled from. I found a picture that was like a similar type setting with the fireplace and the window in the background, and that's where I pulled those colors from to pull that out. This one, I feel like I definitely did a little bit better as far as the highlights. Like I said, like there was a lot of experimenting going on with this, like, and with the feedback of the professor, it definitely helped me out getting through this. I don't know how many times I had to email him, asking him like, "Hey, how was this? What does he think? Like, what should I do?" And he was definitely patient and worked with me through it. Oh wait, I just realized that this actually isn't my final because this is my final, and the bottom text is different. But you get the idea. It's pretty much the same. Yeah, I thought this card would. I mean, this project was pretty fun just because it felt like a competition against everybody, even though it wasn't like really competitive. But the fact that we were all like, all right, competing for, some type of recognition is kind of like, a little bit of what you get going into what we're gonna have to expect going into the art world. Like we're gonna have to compete against other artists about whose composition tells a better story or just makes sense more for what the design purpose is or what the brand, like what it corresponds to, basically. So it was pretty fun. I'm not too good at designing cards, so I feel like my designs came out rather blank, in my opinion. But I feel like it's probably more clean and neat, and it works. So I can't say I'm not proud of it. I wish I did print it out, but I wish I would have printed it out on like a heavier paper so I could actually see um, just the way the image turns out and everything. Like the way I don't know. I like to do that type of stuff. I like to print out my work sometimes, like just to see like if I was to I just see it in person. Like digital is cool, but I don't know. Seeing it in person, it's a little bit. It makes it a big difference. I feel like, but I gotta take with a grain of salt that, of course, when it actually is printed, the printers that will be used will be different, and all those type of things that goes into that. So that's a whole nother ball game. But yeah, this is definitely a cool project. Learning experience for the highlights. Ooh, yeah, I like this one too. The custom casino poker deck. So definitely a struggle of mine is drawing people, hands, all parts, like just trying to just make it seem like it all fits and everything is, I guess, symmetrical with people. But yeah, it was a process. These I kind of took a lot of inspiration from different drawings and images I found on the web for different black characters. So that was actually gonna be my thing for this. I wanted to represent black characters on my poker cards since that's not really something that's really seen. I mean, I've seen uh, blacks like skin, like they'll still look like they'll be like the regular king queen figures, but the skin tone would just be darker. So I don't know. I feel like I get like the play that was like being made, but it wasn't like fully representational as far as like the features of black people, which I kind of wanted to represent that a little bit more. And like I said, like I'm as far as drawing people, that's kind of a struggle of mine. But I'm really proud of the way these came out for what they are. Um, my favorite, hands down, is definitely the Joker. I'm probably gonna take that character and do something else with him. I like the way his whole setup is the from the glasses. I feel like there's a lot to do with that, and what we learned with later on with the animation and stuff. I feel like there's definitely room to grow with that, and I'm excited for that one for sure. So yeah, here's the sketches of my Jack, Queen, King, Joker in the back, and here's the final designs. Um, I did go through like I spent hours adding in highlights and shadows. You can see more of the shadows than the highlights, but they're subtle and like I said, it's still an experiment for me, so you probably can't really tell. But yeah, there's I don't know. Yeah. So like I probably needed to like extend some of these highlights like on the shoulder and like on the opposite side of the shadows here, and yeah, like probably just make it a little bit more like easier to be seen. Like I went through up here on the crown, through all the characters actually, but it didn't really like towards the end of it, like the actual end. Oops, the end design didn't make it really pop out and show. So like I feel like the characters kind of do come out a little bit more flat than I wanted them to be. Um, but like I said, there's always room to go back and edit these. As far as the color scheme, I kind of did struggle a little bit with trying to figure out with which what I really want to work with. I try to pick something that's representative of kind of Africa, even though my hotel, what I mean, my casino was in Cognac, France. Um, but like when the professor, like he kind of like opened up the doorway to say, you know what, who's to say like you can't have that here? Like like you could open up a different culturistic feature in another place. So I don't know. That kind of made me more comfortable to kind of use these colors in my work, but it definitely wasn't my original idea. It's just kind of what I ended up settling on after like struggling to figure out what it was, and then kind of getting that reassurance from the professor about what I should do. But yeah, I like this part of it because you get to clean up your sketch. Like when you got your drawing pad and it's like you see all these like little like here, I'll go back. Well, these are pretty cleaned up themselves actually. but you have like little blemishes of like your erase marks and stuff like that that you get to go back and like really polish up and clean up. And I feel like out of all the characters, probably the one that got the most like cleaning was the king, and that's because like I tried to have to, I don't know, getting the body anatomy right. I still feel like the arms might be a little bit too small. Like I feel like he still needs to be a little bit more brawlicky to like represent a strong king. But um, at the end of the day, like with character, I mean, people being a kind of struggle of mine, like I'm pretty satisfied with the way these turned out. Yeah, I'm not sure as far as like the actual, I guess, placement of the elements in the card. Now that I'm looking at it, I I might have rushed through this a little bit because things are definitely like, yeah. I'm looking at the sizes, everything. Nothing's like really, as far as like from each individual card. Like it doesn't really line up and it doesn't match. And I think the professor did mention something about that in the final critique about this. But I think I want to clean that up because I did. A lot of people saw me working on this, like a lot of family members and family friends, and they were like, "Wow, that's really cool. You could do that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll make a deck of cards with you on it, or something like that." So like, I was just playing around with them, but I did want to make this come to life because my son was enjoying this, and he actually liked this, like these designs. The Joker for sure is staying. He might end up with different clothes. I'm definitely getting rid of the parachute pants. Oh, actually, I might keep that. I don't know. Kind of fits the character. You might have different variations of that, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna play with this guy a little bit more. And yeah, here's the animation. I really enjoyed this part of the project, even though, I mean, this part of the semester, just because I feel like it was probably the newest thing that I got to learn, and I feel like when I get to learn new ways of like creating things, I get really excited because I don't know, I get in my flow state and I kind of lose track of time just playing with stuff and getting to learn things. So yeah, this took a lot of YouTube videos and just messing around in general to get the hang of everything, but it was definitely fun, and I'm looking forward to going back and using After Effects again. But yeah, here's my basic Joker effect. Turned out pretty smooth. If my drawing was a little bit better, it'd be a lot better. So, but I see there's things I can go back and clean up. So there's just room for improvement. I don't look at any of this as like, oh, I did a bad job or anything like that. But it's more of like, I see where I probably could have done better or paid more attention to certain aspects of different projects. But it's all a learning experience. We're in school. That's what we're here for. So we're not professionals yet. So I'm not gonna treat myself like one. But I do kind of hold myself to a standard where like I don't know. Looking back at stuff, I kind of like still I'm proud of definitely proud of the work that I produced. This class. Um, but yeah, this like I said, the hours that I've spent watching YouTube videos, and it's funny, like to this day, I still got I get recommendations on using After Effects and stuff like that, which every now and again I'll click on just to be like, wait, how do you do that? So like, one day I might just actually sit there and just take the whole day like I did for learning how to do this to like actually develop more in-depth skills of how to play with it a little bit more because I really enjoyed that. And looking at some of the things that other people were able to do, I'm like, wow. I might have to start taking animation classes. I don't know. We'll see what the future holds. But yeah, I really did enjoy that part of the project. And this one, man, I'm telling you, like, when I was reading the prompt description for this, I was like, yeah, this might be the project I skip out on, or either just I don't know. I was like, I didn't know what to expect. I was very nervous at the start of this project, so definitely when I chose my the picture that I wanted to refer to from my color palette, I wanted to go back to something that I'm comfortable with drawing, which is palm trees. But even these palm trees, they're kind of a little bit more intricate than what I usually do. Um, but I still enjoyed the process of it. Over here, we have my very rough master sketch, but I like that I feel like I was kind of able to somewhat get the layout close to what it was. Uh, and this was coming like after being sick, I think it was, and like I was like really brain fogged, all mind boggled. So it was just like add that on top of the nervous and stress of that. Like it's yeah, wasn't a fan. And then we gotta record it. Get out of here. But yeah, so it's definitely a wreck for me. But I'm proud of the way these came out. I really like the way I like the time lapse. I think I might try that a little bit more with some of my other projects as I work. Just because it's really cool to literally watch the time lapse, like watch as it goes, and the faster you speed it up, it's like dang, like watching everything just come together. Eventually, like it's really cool. But yeah, we have the uh, Palm Tree NASA by Winslow Homer, my master sketch replica, and then my original sketch that I don't know. This is kind of like a default image, I guess, that my mind draws when I'm kind of like spacing out and just want to go to another place. And this definitely puts me there. I don't know. I don't know where the palm tree thing came from, but it relaxes me and I really enjoy it. So I'm kind of running with it, I guess. Like, I should like I don't know. I try to stay away from it, incorporating it into my schoolwork art. But I feel like I need to do it a lot more, but just because it's something I'm a lot more comfortable with. But I don't know. I get caught in getting. I think I mentioned this with this project. Is that yeah? It was for the brushes. Once I get like comfortable with like one setting or like learning how to do one thing, I'll just stick with that, and like I won't try to venture off just because I don't know. I get too satisfied with what I was able to accomplish, or I don't know. I don't know. I need to be more adventurous. I think like be more experimental with my work. I don't know. Stop getting so. I don't. I feel like I can't get caught up in having a style just because it's not like I don't want to use professional. I don't want to say not professional, but like it's not at a level to where all right that cause I mean, you could just point it out and be like that's Tevin. I can see his work. That's clearly his. Like I don't know. So I feel like it's an interchanging thing that can be played with. So right now I'm in that spot where it's like figure that out. Figure out what is your image. What is your I don't know what is Tevin. What images. What designs. What shows that. So still in the process of figuring that out. But here's the final of my master copy. And time lapse of it. Let's get through this real fast. Yeah, so this, like I said, like it was going through it. It was very nerve wracking having this being recorded, and before like I recorded these in like very like probably 15-minute increments, and like before each video I would like write down all right, I'm gonna work on this, I'm gonna work on that, I'm gonna work on this, just so like I didn't get stuck like, what am I doing? What am I doing? So it's like, I don't know, it kind of flowed a little bit better, and I don't know, I feel like it worked for me a little bit, but it was definitely a nerve-wracking thing to do this. But I'm pretty satisfied with the way the final came out compared to the original that Winslow Homer did. I'm not really a painter. I can't really say that. Like I like to do the paint and sip classes, like, but those are like instructor, like they're walking you through it, and it's I feel like it's kind of relaxed. But through those, I kind of tell myself, I'm like, as I'm working on it, I'm looking at like mine compared to theirs, and I'm like, it doesn't really look like that. And I'm looking at this same way, but when I got to the final product, as I do with that, I'm like, I'm kind of more than satisfied than what I was able to do. Like it's I wouldn't say, of course, it's not up to that caliber, but for like what I would like my skill level, I would say I'm definitely like more than like proud of what I was able to do. Like especially with this one, and then what I was able to take into this one. So I really enjoyed taking the freeform color palette of like choosing the colors from this, and yeah, so I mainly tried to pull the basic colors of a beach, of course, and all that. And I'm glad they had this one little red flag in the back that I could like use that as a predominant thing that wasn't really that predominant in this. So that was really cool. I really enjoyed the process of doing both the time lapses, just because like I got to work on palm trees. Like that's my thing. So that was kind of like ease the nerves of having to be recorded through all this. Satisfied with the way it turned out. See on this one, I tried to come in with some highlights. Again, it's definitely a struggle of mine, but it's something we're gonna definitely put some emphasis on trying to learn, because I don't know, throughout my throughout I don't say throughout my anything, but through the work that I make, the drawings or images that I make, I don't really put too much emphasis on highlights or shadows or anything like that. I do a little bit of shadows in my drawings, but not too much of the highlights. So I think that's something that could definitely be changed. Um, yeah, this project was pretty nerve wracking throughout the process, but I got through it. We all got through it. We got through this class. This class is pretty much over after this presentation. But yeah, it's been more than a pleasure of learning a lot in this class. I got equipped with a lot of tools. Oh, I forgot to mention the technique that the professor taught me for applying real textures for like the gingerbread and stuff like that. But yeah, that was another technique that I could add on my belt, and hella really happy to say that. I don't know. I feel like I walked away from something in this class, and like a couple of the classes that I had for graphic design before this, they were I learned some things, but not to the extent that I did in this class. And some of the things that I did learn in this class, I feel like I should have probably learned in those classes. But like I said, it's all a process, and there's many different ways to do things. So I'm not mad at it. I'm not disappointed or like have any animosity or anger or whatever. I'm definitely like all for trusting the process and knowing that the way, I don't know, things go is different for everybody. We're all at different levels, different stages of our careers, I guess. But Yeah, thank you for coming to my presentation. It's definitely been a fun ride, and I wish you guys all the luck in the future.